good morning, everyone, or whatever afternoon, evening, whatever time you are listening to this. UGLY, she still ain't got no alibi. It's ugly. Personality is ugly. UGLY, she still ain't got no alibi. Things are getting quite heated in the Candace Owens versus Erika Kirk, um, if you want to call it debate, debacle. Um, it is so obvious right now that Candace has gone mask down, gloves on, and she's ready to go to war with Erica. And what this leaked audio showed me is that Candace has more. This Candace does this thing where she leaks a little bit of something to see how the public responds, how TPUSA responds. And it's not a threat, it's a warning where she leaks a little bit of audio and she says, "Hey, this is what I have. If you think this is it, there is more." So, I actually have two pieces of audio that I wanted us to listen to today, including the one from Candace Owen. So we'll listen to that today, and then we'll listen to another piece of leaked audio from Stu Peters that links TPUSA to the MOUSSAD, which we all thought was happening anyway. I think it's very obvious now with the direction of TPUSA that they are no longer being run by Charlie's values, but they are being run by another entity. So I want to listen to this audio with you guys and share with you guys what I got out of it. It was a little different from what Candace Owens got from it. Of course, we have the same feeling, but I, like the rest of the world, gave Mrs. Kirk the benefit of the doubt. I, like the rest of the world, thought, you know what? No one's ever, shot my husband point blank in cold blood publicly, and then I've had to run a company the next week. So I don't know how I would respond. So I tried to give her as much grace as possible initially, but things keep getting weirder and weirder, and it's becoming more increasingly difficult to justify this kind of behavior. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to listen to this call. Can you guys let me know if you can hear this?
And she does begin the call by being thankful to the entire Turning Point USA team for their work at the memorial event. So let's take a listen.
Hi, everybody. I still love all these emojis.
Can you guys first let me know if you can hear this? If you can't hear it, let me know. The first thing I noticed was, and okay, I feel like a horrible person saying this, but the first thing I noticed was just the lightheartedness in the voice, the lightheartedness, the tone was very upbeat. And to me, if I'm going to speak about my husband's funeral or my husband's memorial, I'm going to be sad. Like, just the thought of it would make me want to well up in tears. And this level of brevity this early on in relationship to the funeral, because that's what she's going to talk about, the memorial, just doesn't sit right with my spirit. There is a conflict because what our normal conscience is saying, you're supposed to be sad, and they're telling us, don't believe your eyes and ears, this is normal, this is normal. And you're like, no, this is not normal. This kind of reaction is not normal. And they're shrouding it in the scripture by saying, well, she has the light of Jesus, she has light of, yeah, but you still have emotions even though you have Jesus. So she starts off with this little giggle, and I was like, what's that about?
Things, wow. I don't even know where to begin. The fact that we were able to pull off an event of a century, like, it's just insane. We had over 275,000 people that
The event of the century. This sounds like they pulled off Amfest. So if I had no context of this call, I would have assumed that they were talking about Amfest or some big political event. I would not have assumed that this was a memorial. I wouldn't. The way we pulled off an event of the century, almost as if things are going off without a hitch. That was the feeling that I got from this, is like, this is going perfectly as planned. which is a little scary when you think about it. Does that make sense? Where it's like, we pulled it off. We did it. What? That's not how you speak about a memorial. It's just not.
attended, and stadium overflow, Westgate, insane, you guys. And then you have, was it 100 million? You guys that heard the gospel and all about Charlie and all about everything that you guys do, and the hard work of Turning Point USA is insane. We had thousands that were registered to.
See, this is where let me share with you the order that which this statement would have said. Let me show you the order that in which they should have said this statement. We had over 1 million people show up and hear about Charlie and hear about Turning Point. But the most important thing is that we had 1 million people hear the gospel. Do you hear the difference? Do you hear the difference? To me, her heart is being shown. What's in her heart is being displayed. Charlie would have said it that way. Wow, I'm so baffled and amazed at the work of the Lord that 1 million people got to hear the gospel. Like, yeah, the Turning Point stuff is great, but I'm amazed that 1 million people got to hear the gospel. That was Charlie's heart. That was Charlie's mission. And I'm just not hearing that, you guys. I'm just not hearing that same fervor for the Lord genuinely behind closed doors. Yeah?
Vote. I think we're at like over 200,000 for merch sales. Don't quote me on that because I think it just keeps like bumping up like crazy. But I just wanted to say a huge thank you to the events team, the development team, the graphic design team, the production team. It's just phenomenal. Their incredible work leading into the memorial. And honestly, a lot of the staff that worked on the memorial, they had 20-hour days for a week during the time of us grieving the loss.
So the way that she's talking about this, 20-hour days. So the woman wasn't lying. The woman wasn't lying when she said, I worked, 80-hour weeks. This will be an appropriate time to say, and for all of your hard work, you guys, we're going to give you paid leave. You haven't had time to properly grieve. We're going to give you paid leave because we respect the work that you've done. That's what Charlie would have done.
Loss of my husband. And honestly, I know several staff that didn't even sleep. Again, you guys are breathing angels, and I'm so grateful for all of you. And obviously a huge thank you to the Mosaic team. VI, you guys are 10 out of 10. Like we have the most incredible team. We just do. And you guys know that, and you guys are all a part of that. And I am so thankful. And if you do have a moment and you run into any of those staff members that you know had a role in this, and that they put a lot of their time and effort into it, just say thank you. There's something really special to be seen in moments like this, and it's not easy. I'm speaking from experience. I'm right in the trenches with you guys. And so the fact that you just, a simple thank you. I don't care if any of you have beef with each other from the past or have any issues with someone said something about this or that. Like, if you guys have any of that, please put it to rest. My husband's dead. Like, I'm not trying to be morbid, but he's dead. And
What I'm trying to understand is what connection she's trying to make here. Like, there was just a better way to say this. And when people are saying that she comes across as cold, void of emotion, void of compassion, this is what they're talking about. Let me share with you the appropriate way she could have said this. What my husband's death has taught me is that you never know when the last day of someone's life is going to be. And I'm so thankful that we were able to separate on positive terms. So if there's anybody in your life that you know that you need to reconcile with, do it, because you never know when your last day is going to be. Do you see the difference? Do you see the difference between this word salad amalgamation of words, seemingly vague connections versus heartfelt conversations?
And it puts life into perspective of how short life is and relationships, and God puts people in your life for a reason, and it teaches you a lesson, it teaches them a lesson. So if you are going through a time where, just lay it to rest, and we are moving forward, Turning Point USA 2.0 with Charlie in our hearts, and that's what he would want.
Okay, so I'm just looking at the chat here, and you guys are responding live in the way that I felt live listening to this. It is the general tone that is off-putting. It's the laughter that is off-putting. It's, again, we are not even 2 weeks after watching your husband be assassinated. We're talking about numbers and metrics that have been hit. And my husband's dead, not to be morbid. That is a sentence that and this was not my husband, and I had no sort of the type of relationship that she had with him, that I was able to utter.
Yeah, it's like, not to be morbid. It isn't morbid. Your husband just died. It's not a morbid. Why w- w- why did you need to add that precursor to your sentence? Not to be morbid. It's like, no, no, no. The reality is that your husband was assassinated. So you can say that. It's not morbid to say my husband is dead and I'm still grieving it. I'm still it's again, it's just weird. It's not normal. It doesn't seem like you're grieving.
Least of all, I mean, that's moving pretty quickly to the acceptance phase. Now, we know everybody grieves differently. In my imagination, I just thought she would be more upset. And I want to be clear, the overall.
Yes, and I think what Candace is talking about here are the stages of grief. And if you guys are not familiar with the stages of grief, I'll just briefly share them with you. And it's like it's you don't know when each stage is going to come to a close. But number one is denial, right? And so a lot of people were in denial when Charlie died. They were like, "Oh, he's still alive. They're still working on him in the hospital." And people to this day are still like, "No, he's in Valhalla. There's a place for him." There's anger, which we did see a little bit from Erika. We've seen more anger from Candace, and then there's this bargaining stage where you're like, well, you're trying to rationalize why things happened and you're trying to make sense of what happened. Then there's depression. And this is the depression phase, where most people stay for a while. And acceptance is the final stage. So let me repeat that: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. We haven't seen the depression phase, which is a normal phase. Now, that doesn't mean that you're looking like you're in active depression as someone who has a medical diagnosis, but what it means is that you're just kind of walking around without a little, like with less purpose for a while, and you're just trying to deal with the loss. And typically people stay in the depression phase for a little bit longer and then they get into the acceptance phase. This is my reality. I will move forward. Now, it's not to say that it's impossible to move into the acceptance phase that quickly. I think, for especially given how long Charlie and Erica were married, it seems quick to the rest of us, right? Especially because there are people who didn't even know Charlie who are still working through the acceptance phase, particularly 2 weeks after the death. Like, it's easy to talk about this now, being 4 months out, September, October, November, December, January, yeah, versus 2 weeks out. You're telling me you already moved into the acceptance phase and you can make jokes about it and you can talk about it. It's very strange. It's very, very strange.
Mood of this call is extraordinarily upbeat. It's extraordinarily happy. But of course, as the CEO and chairman, she does have to address the elephant in the room, the morbid elephant in the room, if you will, because it's an obligation. You have a new CEO. The employees are working 20-hour days, but also their founder, Charlie, was publicly assassinated less than 2 weeks ago. You got to address that. And you're going to hear her address that by recapping to them that throughout these long working days, the employees were provided with ample resources while they were working. Take a listen.
I'm just grateful that while things were still in motion and moving around, that we had our leadership teams provide for you counselors, pastors. I heard there were therapy dogs. Slightly jealous that I didn't get to have any moment with a therapy dog.
Okay. I heard there were therapy dogs, and there's a giggle. That's a different thing. What were you doing? That's my question. So were you at work or were you not? Were you at home? What were you doing? Were you on tour? Like, I'm trying to understand if she was in the office at that time or what she was doing in those weeks after that death, because people have been saying that she's unavailable. And she was like, I've been going into the office every day. So I'm like, wait, did you go into the office every day? Because how did you not see the therapy dogs? Like, you should have been able to go see the therapy dogs yourself. They should have brought a therapy dog to the C-suite offices. I'm confused. Erika is demonic. I would not be surprised if she was making snuff of his kids in Roma for her initiation. She has zero empathy. Every statement is calculated, which is why her speech is so stilted. Yeah, who was looking after her very young children? That's that like I understand that she's trying to keep her children out of the spotlight. I would do the same thing. The problem is that her visibility is so high right now, and it doesn't send the appropriate message. Again, the public at the public relations department at Turning Point USA is awful. It's abysmal. It is a massive failure. So they're worried about the wrong things. People want her to be human. They want to see her um, spending time with her children as part of this grieving process. But I would argue who we've seen on television is fake Erika, and this is the real Erika. Do you see how naturally her speech is flowing in this one? This is her natural. This is akin to that video I showed you guys a couple of weeks ago of her audition video. This is what she sounds like naturally.
Breakfast. I was really adamant about making sure that we paid for your flights for your spouses to be there. That was something on my heart. You don't want to grieve alone. No one's supposed to grieve alone. It's not healthy. But I just think it's a beautiful honor that all of these benefits were made for the community to grieve and remember Charlie. And I really hope you took advantage of those in a healthy way when they were provided, because it's meant to be for everyone, for healing. Grief comes in waves. Some days are going to be tougher than others, but take it as it comes. And that's why you have your Turning Point family, and just lean on them and lean on other people in your life that will help you and pour into you and pray with you.
Okay, you guys, something that I didn't hear Candace talk about was something that I picked up on this one was the way that sounded was, we gave you what you needed to grieve. We provided that here. You don't need to take time off because we gave you resources here. That's how I read that when she was speaking. Every other company gives you bereavement hours, by the way. Did they have to use their bereavement to go to the memorial? Just asking.
To get you through it. I say that, though, that if you do need more time to grieve, please continue to use Turning Point USA's network of counselors. We have pastors. I mean, there are so many resources for you. if you do need additional time off, please talk to your director about using paid time off for that.
Wow. Wow. And you know what's funny is actually she knows that she's wrong for this. If you need to grieve, use your paid time off. Where is the bereavement? Now, I'm here in California, and I think between Southern California and Northern California, we may have different labor laws, but I think California labor laws are all the same no matter where you are in California. And we have bereavement. We have bereavement. It could be different in Arizona. Let me just ask the chat GPT really quickly while I'm here with you guys. Wow. So Arizona does not require bereavement. But to me, the Christian thing to do would have been given everybody, 3 or 5 days off, 3 to 5 days off. That's sort of like the standard bereavement, or 2 to 3 days off, um, for grieving. But instead she said, "Oh, just talk to your director." And she sounds so uncomfortable. Let me see if I can move that back a little bit. She sounded so uncomfortable saying that.
Need additional time off, please talk to your director about using paid time off for that. And again, it's not easy, but again, grief is hard. Otherwise, honestly, Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action, full steam ahead, you guys. Charlie would want us to get back to work, and that's what we're doing, and that's what we did with the memorial. And I'm so honored and proud of each and every one of you, because that's what we're going to do in his honor and in his name. We have so much to do, which is exciting.
Listen to that. Listen to that joy. It's exciting. It's exciting. And you see, here's what I want to make clear. You can still press forward and do so in a somber way without being excited. This is 2 weeks after his death, by the way. This is not now. This is not recent. We have to remember to put yourself back in someone's shoes 2 weeks after their husband died. I'm excited. Again, let me share with you the correct, the appropriate, the more manageable response would have been, as hard as it is, as difficult as it is, I know that Charlie would have wanted us to press on. And so as we're working through this, let's remember Charlie's spirit through all of this. Let's remember Charlie's ambition. Let's remember what his vision was. And let's use that to get through these next couple of weeks. Instead, she's inserting, we call them in health coaching, we call them instrumental emotions. So she's laughing at the end of her sentences. And I don't know if it's a nervous laughter, but it's weird.
Charlie in heaven is like, you guys thought you had a busy schedule that.
Okay, hold on.
So much to do, which is exciting. Charlie in heaven is like, you guys thought you had a busy schedule, then just you wait. And he's doing some awesome things with Jesus in heaven right now. But there's so much work to be done. I mean, since his assassination, we have 100,000 chapter requests. We have 300,000 new donors. That is a blessing in itself. Again, not normal. All God. I think we have 50,000 plus hat orders to fulfill. I mean, I'm saying these numbers because it puts into perspective that we're not just sitting and thinking and looking at the wall being like, what do we do? Like that, there is so much to do. You have over 20,000 AmFest registrations.
Yep.
There's a lot happening there, and none of it is what I would be expecting to happen there. So basically what the employees said to me was that they got onto this call and everyone's exhausted, everyone's been working, they pull off this massive memorial. And then there's kind of this approach where it's like, well, if you guys need paid time off. Like Charlie's in heaven dancing, wanting you to work harder. He's just up there like, you better work, but you can use the paid time off that you have earned, by the way, if you need to grieve more. But imagine you're the employee and you're like, okay, well, this is his wife saying this. So am I weird? Would I be like, I would be pretty weird if I needed to take time off and his wife is saying she's full steam ahead.
And here's why. Because Erika is loyal and beholden to the donors, right? Not the 300,000 new donors, the small pocket donors. She is beholden to the big donors who said, listen, you keep this company afloat. We need this machine behind us. And that's why she's talking about we have work to do. Because she knew that if they took a week off or, it would be to the detriment of the company temporarily. And her donors were like, nope, you get right back to work. You take the momentum of this and you use it. And that's why this feels artificial, because it does feel like a taking advantage of the death and using his death as a method for quick, rapid income for the company. That's why this feels weird, is because you can sense here that there's an urgency to maintain this momentum to serve these people. Nobody would have a problem if you sent an email and said, thank you for your donation. We are waiting for the hats, to come in, or we are waiting for XYZ. Please give us some time as we transition, and we promise we'll get your stuff out to you. Nobody would have a problem with that. But you're taking advantage of the moment and using that time, using that moment inappropriately. And that's what people are feeling. People are feeling that you're more interested in the success of the company financially than the people who work there.
That's the mentality that they had. Like, how are we supposed, like, are we weird for wanting to grieve? Is that not the vibe? How can we take paid time off when Erika's wife is saying full steam ahead? It's very strange. It is even kind of using this idea of Charlie being in heaven, looking down, and the laughter. I don't know. I feel like the rest of you. I feel uncomfortable. And of course, now what we're going to listen to is her pivot to the future vision, because that's what the bulk of this is about. And it's going to consist of the notebooks that I keep telling you the public is never going to see. Apparently, what I gather from this is that Charlie presented to the staff a vision for 2025, but Erika is going to say that there was a vision beyond that, all the way to 2030, and there's a project 2030. And then she's going to kind of want to say that she's happy, but then catch herself realizing that that would be kind of weird to say that she's happy. Take a listen.
And by the way, before we listen to that, one thing that I believe and I think that should have happened is, whenever you say that our founder had a vision, our founder had a goal, you should present the evidence of that. And I don't know, maybe she didn't want to present it on this call, but if I were her and if I were Andrew Colvett, I would have taken photos of Charlie's notebook and said, hey, this is what he wrote about, and this is what we're doing. At this point, they can pretty much say whatever they want and say whatever, if they never show the notebook, they can say, oh, Charlie's vision was that we spent a bunch of money supporting, that one country. They could say that because they don't have the photos of it. So I would be, as employees, demanding, kindly, gently requesting to see that vision written out. Because when you hear her talk about it, you're going to miss out. you're going to notice, no, it's noticeably absent, the details of that. They're noticeably absent. And so it's like, yeah, you keep saying we have this vision, but what is it? Tell us more, show us more.
The prophetic mind of my husband was that he always planned for the future. you guys are obviously aware of like Vision 2025, but Charlie was also working on Vision 2030 in the weeks leading up to September 10th, and he was working really closely with Justin, and that's why Justin had been appointed the role of COO, because he was literally, I remember phone calls when Charlie and I would take our night walks, and it would be 10 o'clock at night, and him and Justin would just be talking about the plans. I was aware of the plans. I have his journals that are aware of the plans. Like, there is no confusion of what's to come. And I want to give you guys that reassurance that it's full steam ahead. And the board and I are working with Justin and the executive leadership teams to make sure that all of those plans come into effect 2030 and beyond. But I, again, am so grateful for all of you. I'm so proud of all of you. You honor my husband so well. All of you do. And it's weird to say I'm excited. I really hesitate saying that. It's really hard for me to say that. It's a really
It didn't sound like it was hard for you to say. So that slid right off the tongue, very very naturally, might I add. Like, what are you talking about? That didn't seem that's felt quite natural, if you ask me.
weird thing to say, but I think it comes from a space of peace, knowing that God's using this and we're humbly witnessing the gospel in real time.
I don't know what to say. She doesn't want to say she's happy. I don't want to say I'm happy, but where it comes from, let me explain the happiness that I feel. It comes from peace, because we're witnessing the gospel in real time. All of this makes my skin crawl. It genuinely makes my skin crawl. I'm going to go ahead and say that. You can go find your commentator who's going to tell you everybody grieves differently. Nope, that is less than 2 weeks after Charlie was publicly assassinated. That doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel right to, I would say, the majority of people, or that doesn't feel right. Knowing that they're joyous at dinners. And again, this is when people who did not know Charlie could not stop crying and were sending me emails, who've never met Charlie, who didn't even know what Turning Point USA was, because they watched his assassination, could not stop crying and pull themselves together. That is not the emotion that we're getting there. Like I said, the entire call is upbeat, and the portions where we are even speaking about grief, it feels like an obligation. Like, hey, you got the dogs, and what Charlie wants is for you to work now. And that is how the employees that I've spoken to who were on that call, that's how they felt. My assumption, by the way, why I'm addressing this now is because my assumption, watching everything that's gone on, my assumption was that she really was trying to figure things out. I assumed in the silence, right? She wasn't doing interviews then. I assumed she couldn't get out of bed. I assumed that she couldn't pick her head up. And I felt that people were being unfair.
Same. I 100% thought the same thing. I thought, oh, this woman is probably just absolutely a mess. She's probably not eating. She's probably not sleeping. She's probably devastated. That's what I thought. And these people are picking her apart online and shredding her every language and nitpicking her every thought and opinion. I was wrong.
In judging outfits and in judging whether or not they liked how her hair was done. I said, okay, she's speaking at the we expect her to speak at the memorial event. I felt the public was being unfair. Now that we're kind of getting more on the inside of the organization, the now fired employees are telling me, no, it was quite the opposite. She was in the office every day with Stacey Sheridan, running around with Stacey Sheridan, taking phone calls with Stacey Sheridan. That's like the head of the fundraising for Turning Point USA.
So you guys remember when I asked the question, how come you didn't see the therapy dogs? Because you were in the office. So how come you didn't go see the therapy dogs? Oh, because you were running around with the head of fundraising trying to make sure that everybody was getting you guys were getting your money up.
So what I had imagined in my head was happening simply was not so.
Okay, so that's the end of that audio. Let me move that down. What I want to do now is transition to X. Stu Peters actually leaked another audio. Arizona committee woman Liz Harris claims that TPUSA is controlled by the Mossad. So let me add this up to your screen, and then we'll watch that. Okay. So we're going to watch this together. Okay, I'm going to play that one more time. And so what Liz is saying here is actually shocking. Um, oops. It's actually shocking because what she's saying is it's not that these people have Jewish heritage or ethnicity or religion, like whatever you want to call it. It's that they are a particular kind of individual who has connections to this. And that would make sense because remember, Alex Jones, like all of a sudden did this turn on a dime with Candace Owens and went ballistic on her. And he was the beginning of the flying monkeys, who were sent out to destroy her reputation. What I thought was interesting is that she made a distinction between Charlie and Turning Point. And I do wonder if Charlie knew about this audio, because this was recorded before he was assassinated. So I wonder if he knew about this audio and had heard this audio and thought more about it. But I did find it interesting that disconnected Charlie from Turning Point. It was like the organization, and he is as well. And this has really sent the internet into a tailspin. I'd be concerned. The way that she said this too, you guys, is very interesting. So she's a committee woman. She's in the Republican National Convention. Isn't it interesting how normalized it is that people die because of their what they say? Did you guys hear, like, she just said that like it was commonplace. Like, "Oh yeah, we know this happens. We know that people die when they start saying things." See, the rest of us plebeians in the world we don't know. I don't think it has become, until recently, widespread and well known that yes, in government, if you say things that are out of line, they will just take you out. Whether it's an accident, whether it's a plane crash, a car crash, a heart attack, they will just take you out. And the fact that she said this without even skipping a beat tells me that yes, this really does happen, right? Yeah. So that went out on X, formerly Twitter, and people just absolutely went after it. Um, and people knew it. People are wholeheartedly agree. They know that this is what's happening. I wouldn't say it's just that group. I bet it's a lot. Um, so I think the truth is starting to be more, people are just starting to wake up, and we're starting to see that everything is not as it seems and that truth is stranger than fiction. Um, and so I think only time will tell. I think the beginning of all this has been Candace Owens, and I'm very surprised she's still alive. I'm quite honestly shocked that they have not tried to find a way to take her out, because she knows so much. She was in that crowd for a very long time, and people are knocking her for recording every conversation and keeping things, but I think Candace Owens realized a long time ago that that's how this world works. Everybody has leaked audio. Everybody has, secret recordings. And she simply got in on the game. And she realized that I better collect some information too, because that's how this game works. So that's it for today's video, you guys. I will be back talking more about the Liz Harris allegations. And yeah, don't forget to like this video on your way out, and I will see you guys after the show tonight.